Okay, so we have the outside of our notes sheet, graphic organizer filled out. Median of a triangle is a segment from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Median of a triangle is a segment from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. The three medians of the triangle are concurrent. The point of concurrency, called the centroid, is inside the triangle. We've talked about circumcenters, incenters, and centroids. Centroid is inside the triangle. Which other one's inside the triangle? No, not always. If it's an acute triangle, it will be, but not always. The incenter is always inside, and the centroid is always inside. Okay. Incenter, found by the angle bisectors, and the centroid found by the medians. Okay? So here's a theorem. The centroid theorem says that the centroid of a triangle is 2/3 of the distance from each vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Now, it doesn't have to be scary. Just because 2/3 is there, we can make it easy. So the medians of this triangle are all meeting at point P. And PF and BP are two parts of the median PF, right? Which one's shorter? PF is the shorter segment. PB is the longer segment. Okay? It turns out that PF is half as big as PB. Okay? It's the 2/3 of the distance of the whole thing. So this one is half of this one. So if PF is 1.16, how far is it from P to B? 2.32. So if you have a short segment and you're going to a long one, take it times 2. Make sense? Twice as long. The long segment's twice as long as the short one. So take short times 2, you get the long segment. Every time. It's a special property of centroids. So if we have AP given to us as 4, is AP the short segment or the long segment? Long. So how would I get from AP to PE? Divide by 2. Yep. So to get from the long segment to the short, divide by 2. Okay. Now let's think about the whole segment, the whole median. What's the length of the median AE? 6. So if I wanted to get from the whole median to the short one, what would I have to do? 6. What equals 2? Would be minus 4. But is that going to work here? No. So what else can I do? Divide. 6 divided by 3 gets us 2. So to get from the median, the whole median, to the short side or the short segment, we're going to divide by 3. The short segment's your key. It makes everything easy. And if you have the short segment and you want to get to the whole median, multiply by 3. So if this whole segment, CD, this whole median, is 5.36, what would I do to find out what DP is?
It's 1.16 is twice as big as the
This one, if the whole thing is 5.36 and I want to get to the short segment, what did you say, Jaden? Divide by 3. 5.36 divided by 3 gets me something like 1.79. CD. With some rounding. Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay, so EBC is P is the midpoint of BC.
It's not the midpoint, it's the centroid. Okay? It's the centroid. So it has a short segment and a long segment. Divide it by 3 to get the short segment, and then double the short segment to get the long one. Okay? So the roughly, it's going to be a little bit off because it's not going to come out evenly. Okay? I should have moved it in GeoGebra a little bit so that I would have had nicer numbers. Or changed it from hundredths to tenths. Okay? Now, you've just done problems that are harder than anything you're going to be asked to do in your book. I'm serious. The book assignment is going to have a problem like this. Triangle RST has a point Q. That's the centroid. Okay? And they tell us that QV is 5. They want us to find RQ, and they want us to find RV. So is RQ or QV the short segment or the long segment? Short. How do we get the long segment? Times it by 2. How do we get the whole thing? Add them up or take this times 3. Okay. Everybody good with those? Okay. Let's talk about how we would graph it. Okay. To find the coordinates of the centroid, we want to find the medians. So count if you want. Or we add them up and divide by 2. What's negative 4 and 0?
What?
Negative 4 plus 0.
Negative 4 plus 0? Negative 4.
Divided by 2. So negative 2 is the x-coordinate of our midpoint. Negative 2 and 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2? 1. So negative 2, 1 is the midpoint of segment AB. Okay? The median goes from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So here's my median. We found one. Let's find a second one. You want to find the midpoint of BC or AC? AC. Okay? Add up the x's. 7 and 0 is divided by 2. Add up the y's. 4 plus 1 divided by 2. So 3.5 over, 2.5 up. There's my midpoint. The median goes from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. From B to there, and I did not draw a straight line. Okay. It should be closer than that. And that's not going to be right either. Let's try that again. Yes.
You sent Brendan Baker to the office.
Absolutely, he's on his way.
Thank you.
The median. Okay. It actually ended up being, okay, here we go. It was supposed to be 1.5, negative 0.5, so that's why I didn't have it quite right. It was, my drawing was correct. 1.5, negative 0.5. Nope, this was 1, it was 1, 1. Okay, 1, 1 was right. The next one, yeah, I was looking ahead. Okay. All right, altitude. Altitude of a triangle. You've seen them before. They're nothing special. They're nothing new. Special, but not new. Okay? When we have an acute triangle, our altitude's inside of our triangle. And it is the perpendicular segment from a vertex to the opposite side, or a line that contains the opposite side, in the case where we have an obtuse triangle. So sometimes we have to extend that side out to make the altitude. We've used this when we found the area. 1/2 the base times the height is the area of a triangle. That height is the altitude.